Oh, the horror. Because of the voice of the enemy, because of the oppression of the wicked, for they cast iniquity upon me, and in wrath they hate me. My heart is sore pained within me, and the terrors of death are fallen upon me. Fearfulness and trembling are come upon me, and horror hath overwhelmed me. And I said, oh, that I had wings like a dove, for then would I fly away and be at rest. Psalms 55, verses 3 through 6, KJV. In this month of October, as we approach Halloween, the next pagan holiday on this spiritual Egypt's roster, we will be ushering in season 4 of Supping with Jesus, entitled, Oh, the Horror. During this time of year, many will be gathered around their televisions, filling the movie theaters, attending haunted houses, and scrolling their phones in search of screams, scares, and all things terror. So I thought, hey, let's flip the script on Halloween and have a creep fest of our own by taking some of the genre's creepiest and show how even these, to a child of God, can only illuminate the truths concerning the teachings of the kingdom of God. Now I know, I can already hear the cries of how can she look at such violence and gore and depravity and see God in that? I'll just say, it's very interesting how some will get on me about watching horror films and the screenplays that I write and the songs that I listen to. How can you talk about God? Isn't that unbecoming? But isn't it also interesting how these same people who are not in any way following God tries to tell you how you should do it? And yeah, it is so interesting how you're saying I am not reflecting what God would have me do, but can't quote a verse to save their life. So, they're not walking in the ways of God and therefore have no understanding of it, but they're going to tell you how I'm doing things wrong. But God said what's really going on when they do this kind of criticizing, it comes out of Matthew 13, when the disciples inquired of the Lord, why did he speak unto them in parables? Matthew chapter 13, verses 10 through 17. And the disciples came and said unto him, why speakest thou them in parables? He answered and said unto them,
Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away, even that he hath. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, By hearing ye hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing. And their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them.
You see, God speaks to me in all things because he is in everything, as is written in Psalms chapter 139, verses 5 through 14. Thou hast beset me behind and before, and laid thy hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high, I cannot attain unto it. Whither shall I go from thy spirit, or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be light about me. Yea, the darkness hideth not from thee, but the night shineth as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to thee, for thou hast possessed my reins. Thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. When a God like this puts his hands on you, to you he is everywhere and in everything, and nothing from you will be hid. But by the same token, I want it understood I am not endorsing any of these films or saying you should watch these kinds of movies. This series are for those who have already seen these films and already watched these kinds of movies, and I am simply pointing out that nobody has any excuse to say, I didn't see nor perceive, because even in these, God is making himself known to you. God doesn't look for those who are already found, nor does he come for those who aren't sick and aren't in need of a physician. Luke chapter 5, verse 31. But their scribes and Pharisees murmured against his disciples, saying, Why do ye eat and drink with publicans and sinners? And Jesus answering said unto them,
They that are whole need not a physician, but they that are sick.
But as it is written, sometimes we are the only God people will see. Matthew chapter 5, verses 16.
Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven.
As I have spoken before, I was brought in on one of these films, Exorcimus, and everybody's journey is not the same. This series is to give those an understanding of what they are seeing on that screen, and that is, this is real life stuff that you're looking at. Now that we have all that squared away, let's begin. The Fog. This 80s film directed by John Carpenter that tells the story of an unearthly fog that rolls into a small coastal town exactly 100 years after a ship mysteriously sank in its waters. You know, in this moment, I feel like the character Stevie Wayne is played by Adrienne Barbeau in the original film, The Fog. My goodness, I remember when my older brother would pile me and his children and our younger brother in the car and take us all to the drive-in for a good scare. Those were the days, right? That's where my fascination with horror films began, but since then I have discovered that God was going to use that interest for the horror genre to show me things that I didn't see then. There was a lot of truth about how real life works in those films. The truth is, there is a real life battle going on between the darkness and the light, good and evil, and that battle is ultimately for the saving of souls. Nefarious. Released in 2023, penned as an American independent Christian horror thriller, Nefarious tells the story of convicted serial killer Edward Wayne Brady, who on the day of his scheduled execution confesses to a psychiatrist that he's possessed by a demon who, before all is said and done, will make him a murderer too. In essence, give Satan an inch, he will certainly, without a doubt, go for the mile. We'll be taking a look at the 2017 reboot of the Stephen King TV miniseries with the same name. It takes place in the summer of 1989, where a group of bullied kids band together to destroy a shape-shifting monster named Pennywise that disguises itself as a clown, preying on the children of Derry, their small Maine town. Let's just say, this is going to be fun. A penny for your thoughts. Smile. Directed by Parker Finn with the tagline, Once you see it, it's too late. This 2022 film, with its sequel scheduled to be released this month, tells the story of Dr. Rose Carter, who begins experiencing frightening occurrences after witnessing a traumatic incident involving a patient. Let's just say this movie is all about the eye gates. It Follows. This 2014 indie flick tells the story of what happens after carefree teenager Jay, played by Maika Monroe, sleeps with her new boyfriend Hugh, played by Jack Weary, for the first time. She learns that she is the latest recipient of a fatal curse that is passed from victim to victim via sexual intercourse. After seeing this movie, all I could think is, I know she wishes she would have fled, as is written in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18. Flee fornication. Every sin that a man doeth is without the body, but he that committeth fornication sinneth against his own body. And last but certainly not least, Exorcimus, a 2010 Spanish-British horror film directed by Manuel Carbala and starring Sophie Vavasseur and Stephen Billington. When a secluded homeschool teenager performs a satanic ritual at her home after a night of partying, she becomes possessed by the devil. When terrible things start to happen to her friends and family, her parents grudgingly call in the help of her uncle, who is a priest, to drive out the evil spirits. I can honestly say, if you see any of these signs that's in this film, you have definitely let the wrong one in. So join us as we delve deeper in this 6-part series as we take a closer look at these 6 horror films that undoubtedly was right from the pages of Satan's handbook and highlights basic Bible truths. I promise you, you'll never see horror films the same way again. Supping with Jesus, Oh the Horror. Listen to us on some of your favorite podcast platforms such as Pandora, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and iHeartRadio. And now also streaming on YouTube and Can TV, Channel 36.